Title: Ex-girlfriend pleads for reconciliation after cheating. She wants to share one last thing with me. Shifting into a cute pose, she tries to play it sweet and says something like, "I've made a mistake." I'm not prepared for what comes next. She reveals, "I slept with another guy at that party, and if we're going to be a couple, I want to get this out in the open." I can't help but laugh nervously. Hello friends. We are back with another story submitted by a subscriber today. If you want to share your experience, send it to Lessons from Life. That's Lessons from Life. Whether it's a funny tale or a story of overcoming hardship, I want to hear it. If your story helps even one person, it's worth it. I often receive emails not just to share stories, but also to express gratitude for reading someone's experience. Hearing that someone found solace in their struggles helps so much, no matter how small their story may seem. You can remain anonymous, but just know that someone else might benefit from your words. Now on to today's tale. The subject line reads, Psycho X, an unconventional breakup experience. Hey there, I'm a 31-year-old man looking to share my experience because I feel fortunate compared to some others who've written in. I've followed your channel for a while, and it has really helped me with my recent breakup. I think my story about dealing with a psycho ex who could ruin my reputation is interesting. Thank you for creating this platform where we can support and learn from one another. You're doing a fantastic job, and I want to express my appreciation. Please keep my name and hers confidential. I doubt she'll ever listen to your channel, but I'd rather be safe. I don't harbor any hatred towards women, I just think finding the right partner is challenging, and good ones are rare. Jordan Peterson suggests we meet only about 4 suitable partners in our lifetime. I've moved on from my nice guy phase, but this story still baffles me. I have a female coworker, 25, whom I've worked with for 5 years. Although she isn't the most attractive, she has a nice, down-to-earth vibe. Generally, she's well-liked in our office. In the beginning, she had a boyfriend, and since we didn't interact much, I didn't pay her much mind. However, 2 years ago, she broke up with her boyfriend, who I had met at various office events. He was a decent guy. This summer, we worked on a small project together and stayed late a couple of nights to finish it up. We started flirting, and for the first time, I noticed her. I liked her friendly demeanor and believed we shared similar values, so I thought she was a genuinely good person. We began dating, and during this time, I discovered MGDOW and red pill philosophies on YouTube, which made me rethink modern relationships, especially considering we were co-workers. I was glad that I'd soon be starting a new job in April, allowing us to only work together for a few more months. That made me feel our office romance wasn't that significant, which is why I agreed to date her. After 6 weeks, things took a bizarre turn. She asked me if we could be exclusive. I was unfamiliar with that term. When she explained it meant we would only sleep with each other, I was relieved and happy she wanted to solidify our relationship. 6 days later, she stayed over, and while discussing weekend plans, she mentioned going to a party in her hometown to see some old friends. One of her close friends is pregnant, and she's excited to catch up with her. However, she also casually dropped that her ex-boyfriend would be there too, the same one I had met at office events. I hesitated to bring up my concerns, considering they'd been broken up for 2 years. Plus, she had suggested we be exclusive. So I held my tongue. In hindsight, she didn't want me to see anyone else while clearly being ready to see her ex. At this point, I had no reason to suspect she would cheat. I hadn't seen any red flags. She didn't have any lingering feelings for her ex as they ended things amicably. I figured it was fine to not question her further about him. After that party, I didn't worry about a thing. We met again, spent the night together, and enjoyed our usual intimacy. After breakfast, feeling more connected, I brought up the idea of us officially being boyfriend and girlfriend. She expressed excitement about it but said she needed to confess something first. Adopting an overly cute pose, she said something like, "I made a mistake." My mind wasn't prepared for what came next. She confessed, I had sex with another man at that party, and if we're going to be a couple, I want this to be out in the open. My world collapsed as I processed her words. It hit me like a freight train. She said she had slept with her ex-boyfriend's roommate. In that moment, I realized she wanted me to refrain from seeing other women because she was aware of a girl I had liked, someone she knew I was friends with. Yet she had no issue sleeping with other guys. It became evident to me that she didn't actually sleep with her ex-boyfriend's roommate, she slept with her ex. Her entire persona suddenly made sense. She had always seemed friendly, but I could see the narcissism lurking beneath. It explained why she had no close friendships and why she often seemed to put on an act instead of being her authentic self. I knew I had to leave immediately. Although I was hurt, I also felt a sense of danger, knowing she might have tricks up her sleeve. Our next shift together was a week later, and she slipped me a letter before leaving. I had already blocked her on all social media, and she didn't have my email, so I thought I was safe. I took pictures of the ripped letter, showing it in the trash to document the end of our connection. I told myself to play the victim, ensuring it looked authentic so she couldn't twist the narrative in the office. I captioned those pictures, "Please don't try to reach out, I need time to heal. I am deeply hurt." After blocking her again, I waited a few days before receiving an email on my work account. The email, titled work-related, felt like a trap, but I opened it anyway. I was still smarting from her betrayal. It proposed we meet as adults to discuss our situation. I spent hours in my room contemplating my next move. I anticipated she might try to tarnish my reputation. I felt like a detective uncovering a web of lies, realizing that despite her not being particularly intelligent, she could still cause me harm without remorse. I decided to make a video about my feelings, detailing my hurt without mentioning her name or being accusatory. I aimed to portray myself as someone who was deeply wounded while asserting I couldn't trust her again. I reviewed the footage multiple times to ensure there were no incriminating bits before sending it. I even expressed that I hoped she wouldn't share it, wishing to avoid any further complications. The next day, I received an email from her personal account, a 10-minute video in response to mine. In it, she confessed to her betrayal, taking responsibility while weaving the same old "I'm sorry, but" narrative. It felt almost comical. As I watched, I felt relieved knowing I had evidence of her admission. While watching her, I couldn't shake the frustration that she hadn't thought to discuss our exclusivity before jumping into bed with someone else. The audacity of thinking we could just resume a relationship after her infidelity was astonishing. For now, everything seemed to settle. Work was fine, with no rumors circulating about me. I suspected she kept the cheating under wraps to maintain her girl-next-door image. 2 weeks later, I received a late-night text from her saying she missed me and wanted to start fresh, accompanied by a sad emoji. I pondered my response, wanting to laugh at her attempts. Ultimately, I replied, "Sorry, but I've moved on. I wish you the best." Her response was a simple, "Sorry, I had a weak moment." Since then, things have returned to normal. Some might question my perspective on her being a psycho, but it's evident in her behavior around others. I'm no psychologist, but there's a distinct quality about her that seems off. I feel safe now, especially with the proof I have. Take care, everyone, and remember to be cautious. Some seemingly innocent fish in the sea may have hidden agendas. Wow, let me share my thoughts. You might think she isn't as crazy as I claim, but I get why you need to be cautious. There are countless stories in the media and on Reddit highlighting the necessity of self-protection in relationships. I respect your approach. While I might not have done it that way, I understand why you felt the need to safeguard yourself. Your story serves as a reminder of the complexities of workplace romances and how they can lead to complications. Many people do date coworkers because of proximity, but the drama that often unfolds isn't worth it. I knew as soon as she suggested exclusivity that she was planning to cheat. It's a classic case of wanting her cake and eating it too, using the term exclusive to control the narrative while having her fun on the side. It's ridiculous how she thought she could have both worlds. Thanks again for sharing your story, and I hope your next relationship is far healthier. As I finished reading, a flood of comments poured in from listeners. Some echoed similar sentiments, advising caution in workplace romances, while others expressed sympathy, recounting their own experiences of betrayal. One comment stood out to me. "Man, this is why I always keep things strictly professional at work. People can be wild, and it's just not worth risking your job or reputation for a short-term fling. Glad you got out when you did." Another added, "Sounds like you dodged a bullet." The fact that she confessed is one thing, but the way she acted so nonchalant about it? Huge red flag. Keep your head up, bro. There's better out there for sure. As I skimmed through the comments, I realized how common these kinds of stories were. People getting involved with coworkers, only for things to blow up when lines got crossed. Many of the stories were eerily similar: trust shattered, reputations put at risk, and people walking away hurt but wiser. The lesson here is crystal clear: relationships at work can be a minefield. They might seem convenient, especially when you're spending so much time together, but when things go wrong, they can spiral out of control quickly. If there's one thing this story and the comments emphasize, it's the importance of setting boundaries and being clear about your intentions from the start. The exclusivity conversation should have been a red flag, but sometimes when you're in the moment, you miss those signs. To the person who submitted this story, you handled it with class. By documenting everything and keeping your cool, you avoided a situation that could have easily escalated into workplace drama. It's also important to recognize that, as much as we may try to avoid it, people lie. They cover up their mistakes or attempt to manipulate situations to their advantage. But by staying vigilant and trusting your instincts, you were able to see through her act and protect yourself from further damage. This story serves as another reminder to always be careful, particularly in the workplace, where personal and professional boundaries can blur. For everyone listening, trust your gut, don't ignore red flags, and most importantly, don't be afraid to walk away from toxic situations. It may hurt at first, but in the long run, it'll save you from even bigger heartbreak. If you enjoyed today's story and want to hear more, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you've got a story to share, whether it's about relationships, work, or personal growth, feel free to email me at lessonsfromlife. You never know, your story might just help someone else going through the same thing. Until next time, stay strong, stay smart, and stay safe. Take care.